Gary, Australia
Yep.
Day. I think we're seeing, we
Yeah.
are seeing a real shift in community attitudes. And I think people have felt like this for a long time. They've been scared to speak their mind. I think things like The Voice have now opened up the trust and the confidence of people to be outspoken about their National Day. Peter Dutton has said he's open to actually legislating to protect Australia Day on the 26th of January. What do you think? Do we need it enshrined in law?
Well, I think so. Just as we had to protect the Australian flag, the Flag Act, National Flag Act of 1996 was one of the first things the Howard government did, because up until then the flag could have been changed by cabinet decision. So you can't do that. And most people love our flag. It's a wonderful flag. In fact, we allow another country to use part of our flag as their entire flag. I mean, let's face it, Peter, Australia Day is a day that's not about January of 1788 for most Australians. It's actually about citizenship. It's actually about those who've taken on Australian citizenship by choice. And that all happened from Australia Day of 1949. And, you know, this in itself is why this day doesn't just simply belong to these activists who want to rewrite Australia's history and to point out, you know, their grievances.
Well, Gary,
Peter, the simple, yeah.
Let me just jump in there, because you're a former citizenship minister. What did you make of the statistics are today that about a third of people that put themselves forward for the citizenship test fail it? We've got 60,000 people. It's multiple choice. It's not that hard. 60,000 people are failing it in the last results.
Yeah, I think we give our citizenship away too easily. I went to Canada about 20 years ago, and they have what they call a citizenship judge. So it's completely independent of local government. It's basically like a TAFE course. You need to be there in Canada for 5 years, be proficient in English or French, the two languages of Canada, and you actually achieve a technical outcome, an educative outcome, and then you become a citizen. And I actually think we need to do a bit more than just simply a multiple choice question about, you know, Don Bradman's score, you know, 99.94 is average. I mean, these sorts of things, you know, I want to know about the 2/3 who actually were able to game the system and get the gig. You know, I just think we give it away too fast. 2-3 years. I think 5 years is about right. And I think we just got to simply hold dear the Australian Citizenship Act and look at a reform that actually beefs up the criteria. And I think the Canadian model is the best piece of comparative public policy. Like us, they have 20-odd% of their nation born overseas and have come here in their lifetime. And Australia should be really looking at what Canada has done in this space. It's much better than what we do. We give it away, Peter, and I think we've got to change that.
Particularly when we're taking people from countries that do not share our Judeo-Christian underpinning, our values. And I'm not saying you have to be Judeo-Christian, but you don't have our values. No. You've just given me an idea for a bit of a research project for my viewers. I might have a look at what they do in some, you know, major countries around the world and come back and report. Hey, Caroline, we've already picked up, you know, in the last couple of days that we're absolutely in an election campaign. It's just not formally called. But also how hard Labor is going personally against the opposition leader. Now, it didn't work for the Democrats in the United States. I don't think it's going to work here at all. But in the seat of Dixon, so this is Peter Dutton's seat, he's got the same woman going around again, running against him. She's been trying to drum up support for a fundraising event, and she's used a whole lot of disparaging nicknames and imagery targeting her rival. Now, she's had to pull them back. Her games, her emails have been blasted as distasteful. And what else has happened here? I mean, this is part of a Labor strategy from the top. That's very clear.
Yeah. Well, it's certainly not the first pot shot that Labor has taken against Peter Dutton recently. You'll remember the Victorian Labor branch put out this meme of Peter Dutton and his wife under a heading, you know, this is what you would say to your friends if they don't like your new partner, and it said, "I'm not a monster." It was from a newspaper cutting a while ago. It was just a really low blow, and even that was criticised by federal Labor at the time. And then we see something like this. I mean, I'm not an overly sensitive person. I don't want to find offense in everything, someone using an image of a potato, but I just can't help thinking, what if the shoe was on the other foot? What if someone was making fun of this Ali France, this Labor candidate in the seat of Dixon? What if someone was making fun of a female Labor candidate somewhere else based on their physical appearance? And Peter Dutton actually suffers from a disease, alopecia. I mean, I have a neighbour who has a young daughter, child who suffers from that and has lost all her hair. For many people, it is serious, and it is something that they wouldn't want to see mocked either. I mean, I remember in 2013 when there was a Liberal fundraiser and they were mocking Julia Gillard and having items on the menu mocking her physical appearance, small breasts, big thighs, chicken thighs were on the menu there, and that was roundly criticised by Labor, and yet it seems to be okay when it's a male candidate, when it's a male opposition leader. And I just think people really detest those double standards. Be consistent, don't be a hypocrite, and I don't think these cheap shots work anyway. And as you're right, they didn't work in the US for Hillary Clinton, they didn't work for Kamala Harris, and they won't work for Labor either.
Yeah. Beautifully said, Caroline. I'll leave it there. Thank you both for your time.